All right, we are back for our 5 best bets for the college basketball slate here on November 12th. And obviously, you've got a huge doubleheader with Kansas taking on Michigan State and Duke taking on Kentucky. And we're going to have bets for both of those games as well as 3 others again as we continue our daily 5 best bets for college basketball here on the channel. And folks, if you have not yet though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below again for more daily college basketball best bets. It helps out the channel a lot if you do just hit that subscribe button down below and leave a like, and make sure also to join us for our daily NBA predictions as well. Today we went over, an hour ago we went over the NBA in-season tournament, or the NBA Cup, with all those games. So go make sure to check that video out. Link is in the description down below, along with our college football predictions that are going to be coming out on the channel in about 3 hours. Again, we predict every single college football game. I've been doing it all season long, and again, that's out on the channel in a couple hours, as well as our NFL predictions that will be coming out tomorrow, and our UFC 309 Jones versus Miocic predictions that were posted on Sunday. All right, let's get into our 5 best bets here for college basketball today, and we start things off with a game between St. Joseph's and Villanova. We like Nova to go on the road and beat St. Joseph's. This game is early, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, so we get a bet out early in the day, and we like Villanova to go on the road and cover the 2.5 points. Okay, I get it. Nova laid an egg 2 games ago. They lost to Columbia. They were 17.5 point favorites at home. Columbia was getting plus 900 on the road to outright win the game, and they did. This is not going to happen again. I understand St. Joseph's is 10 times better than Columbia. Obviously, Columbia is a school in the Ivy or whatnot. They are an Ivy League school. But Villanova looked fine in their bounce-back game where they beat New Jersey Institute of Tech. I mean, Eric Dixon had a big game, 22 points. He had 33, actually, in the loss to Columbia. But Eric Dixon, obviously, is going to be the focal point of this Villanova scoring attack. They're taking on a St. Joseph's team that is coming off a loss to Central Connecticut. So both these teams severely underwhelming. St. Joseph was a minus 16.5 point favorite in that game against the Blue Devils of Central Connecticut, and they lost. I mean, again, Villanova was a huge favorite and they lost too, but both of these schools have had crappy starts to the season, and I still think Villanova is the better school. They won their first game against Lafayette by 12 points, again, then losing to Columbia, beating New Jersey Institute of Technology. But St. Joseph lost to Central Connecticut and played a competitive game with Navy. I don't know, man. Both these schools, of course, last year were NIT teams. Villanova, they're not the Villanova of old, obviously, right? But they're still, okay in the Big East. They aren't the dominant force they once were. Of course, back-to-back NIT appearances for them. They have not been in the NCAA tournament since 2022, where they lost in the Final Four to Kansas. But again, Nova, I think, is good enough to beat St. Joseph's in this game. Again, they are not the same, powerhouse that they once were in college basketball. I completely understand that. But I definitely think Villanova is able to beat St. Joseph's in this game. Against St. Joseph's coming off that loss to Central Connecticut. This game is it is at home for St. Joseph, so it is in Philadelphia. But I think, again, we're fine picking Villanova in this game. You still got, of course, Eric Dixon on this team. We've got in St. Joseph's, they do return one of their leading scorers last year. Obviously, Eric Reynolds the second. Reynolds had a huge year last year for St. Joseph's. He's back now as a senior. He's been a guy who's produced every single season he's played at St. Joseph's or at St. Joe's in his collegiate career. But I like Villanova. I think they're the better team. Again, both these teams losing, games that they're huge favorites in, but I think Villanova's all around still the better team. I'm taking Nova to go out there and beat St. Joseph's. Again, an early bet here. We're going to go with Villanova to win at 2 p.m. over St. Joseph's and cover the 2.5 points as well. Next up, we go to probably the biggest game of the day. It's probably Duke, but Michigan State versus Kansas from the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. I don't think this is a competition. I think Kansas dog walks Michigan State in this game. Now, we took North Carolina to cover their last game against Kansas, and obviously we got that one right. North Carolina was down big. They came back. They closed it. They only lost the game by 3 points. You know what you get out of Kansas. You get the former South Dakota State Jackrabbit and Zeke Mayo. He is going to be the leading scorer all year long for this team. And you get their big man, Hunter Dickinson. You get some supporting roles, obviously, out of KJ Adams. You get the former Wisconsin Badger and AJ Storr. Kansas right now is probably the best team in college basketball. There's a reason they're ranked number 1. They have the most talent. Zeke Mayo is an absolute dog they got again from South Dakota State. They get Michigan State in this game, a team that is 2-0 so far this season. They've got wins over Monmouth and Niagara. But again, those are, the mid-major schools that they are, and Kansas has already gone out and beat North Carolina this season. And Kansas' other win is over Howard, winning the game by 30 points. Zeke Mayo, again, has led their team in scoring in both games. Mayo with 19 over Howard, the win over North Carolina. Mayo with 21 points. I just think Kansas is the better team. They have more talent. Obviously, again, last year was a huge disappointment for the Jayhawks. They are going to ensure that that doesn't happen again this season. And obviously, they're on the right path. They've already beat UNC. They get Michigan State tonight, and they get Duke in 2 weeks' time. Then they play Creighton later on in their non-conference schedule. I mean, again, Kansas has stacked it this year for a good reason. I think they're expected to go all the way this season. They're expected to be in that Final Four. And why wouldn't they be? They've got all the talent. Zeke Mayo should continue to produce as their leading scorer all season long. You combine him with the output that they're going to get out of Hunter Dickinson all season long as well. We like Kansas hands down in this game over Michigan State. We do. I mean, again, I don't know where Michigan State, I don't think they're going to keep this game competitive. I really don't think they are. I think that obviously they got worse in the offseason. They lose a lot of their leading scorers from last year. Obviously, the main one being Tyson Walker. I'm taking Kansas to win this game. No Tyson Walker anymore for Michigan State. They lose also AJ Hoggard to Vanderbilt. I like Kansas to win this game. They improved in the offseason. I don't think Michigan State did. Again, biggest game of the day, but we're going with the Jayhawks. Go out there and win the game in the neutral site. It's fine. Michigan State's coming down from Michigan. Kansas going from Kansas to Georgia. If anything, again, Kansas is the closer team in proximity to Atlanta, Georgia. We like the Jayhawks to win this game, and they will take down Michigan State, and they will cover the 6.5 points as well. As we go on to the second half of this ESPN doubleheader, it is Kentucky versus Duke. Huge basketball game, right? Kentucky comes in this one ranked number 19. This one, again, second half of the back-to-back in Atlanta, Georgia. Duke ranked number 6. We like Duke to win the basketball game, but we actually like Kentucky to cover the 6.5 points as well. Now, all the attention on this game is going to be obviously on the number 1 pick in the draft this season, likely in Cooper Flagg. Right, Cooper Flagg is, probably the best player in college basketball right now. Duke is 2-0 this season, and they haven't been competitive in either of their games against both Maine and against Army. Here's a true test. And again, Duke's got some tough games coming up. They play Arizona next week. They play Kansas the week after that. They get Auburn the week after that. They've got some difficult games. But obviously, they're the Duke Blue Devils. They are expected to play in these type of games all season long. Okay. I think they beat Kentucky. I don't know if they can cover. 6.5 points is a lot. Kentucky's a really good team. They're led by Kobe Brea, who so far this season has averaged 19 points, 20 in the victory over Bucknell, 18 in the game over Wright State. Again, Brea is a guy who came in from Dayton, his first season with Kentucky, and he has excelled at Kentucky so far this year as well. Same can be said about Amari Williams, who has succeeded so far and played really well for this Kentucky team. He's a Drexel transfer. He's been playing well so far this season as well. He's been cleaning up on the glass for Kentucky. And again, that's what Kentucky did in the offseason. They really beefed up this team. They went into the portal. They, I think, did really well. They got Otega away as well. The former Oklahoma Sooner is now on this team. He is one of the leading scorers on Kentucky as well. I like the Wildcats to cover the spread. I think Duke's good, don't get me wrong, but I think the Wildcats are really good as well. Again, you know what you're going to get out of Cooper Flagg. Flagg all around is the best player in college basketball right now. Tyrese Proctor is now here, obviously, at Duke, Tyrese Proctor is still here at Duke as well. You know what you're going to get out of Proctor. Last year, obviously, he was a guy at Duke who averaged 10.5. Didn't find himself in the biggest of role, obviously, with guys like Jared McCain on the team still. But, you got Proctor, you got Cooper Flagg, you got Knuppel as well. I think Duke's a good team, don't get me wrong. I just think Kentucky's able to remain competitive with them. I like the Wildcats to cover the 6.5 points, neutral site game. I think this one's going to go down to the wire, considering, again, I don't think both of these games in Atlanta are going to be straight blowouts. I think Kansas is going to run away from Michigan State, don't get me wrong, but I don't think Duke's able to completely run out the building against Kentucky. I don't think they're able to run Kentucky completely out the building. Give me the Wildcats to cover the 6.5. Again, I think they've got too much talent and too much depth on this team, too, to not keep this game competitive. But I ultimately do think Duke wins the basketball game. I think this one's going to come down to the wire. I think Duke wins, but I think Kentucky, again, remains very competitive in this one, as that'll do it for the back end of this back-to-back from Atlanta, Georgia, as we get two more predictions going down the stretch here, and we go on to the West Coast, not the West Coast Conference, but we go to the Big West and the West Coast, because this is where we like to make picks. West Coast basketball, not the conference, but again, just teams on the West Coast. Cal Baptist takes on UC Riverside. We really like Cal Baptist in this spot. Why? I think it's a buy high spot against UC Riverside. Okay, UC Riverside, they're getting a lot of respect for being an 0-2 team. Why? Because of their two losses. They only lost to Oregon by 15. That one doesn't really mean much. They lost by 6 points against Brigham Young. Brigham Young, a very good team last season, still a very good team. And UC Riverside stayed somewhat competitive in that basketball game and only lost it by 6 points. Okay, now they go still, though, back on the road. Their first two games against Oregon and BYU were on the road. Now they get Cal Baptist on the road as well. A Cal Baptist team, the Lancers, are 2-0 victories over Incarnate Word and Kennesaw State as well. And they're led by their senior forward in Kendall Coleman, who so far this season has been averaging 19 points a game. He's a guy who played at Cal Baptist last season, only averaged 6. Before that, he was at LSU. The Shreveport, Louisiana talent has been balling so far this season. He's led them to both points and rebounds in both their games so far this season. You get Dominique Daniels Jr., who's been balling as well so far this year. He's averaging 17 and 4, led their teams in assists both nights as well. It's his second year it's his second year here at Cal Baptist for the senior guard out of Compton, California. For UC Riverside, again, they've remained competitive in that game against BYU. Caleb Smith was their leading scorer with 20, but again, I feel like they're getting just a little bit too much respect because of how closely they play BYU. And again, credit to them. They stayed competitive in that game against Brigham Young, a good basketball team. They did, right? Down by 7 going into half. They actually won the second half, only lost the game by 6 points. Again, Brigham Young was in control for the most part of that entire game, but UC Riverside was just able to hang around, which, again, credit to the Highlanders. Again, they were able to stay in a game with a very good basketball team, and they didn't get completely shelled in the game against Oregon. You know UC Riverside's going to be able to put up points, but at the same time, Cal Baptist scores a lot as well, and ultimately, that's why I like the Lancers coming out of the Western Athletic Conference to win this basketball game. I think they're the better team compared to UC Riverside here. I just think they are. I think they've got a very interesting game coming up later this week against Long Island. Long Island obviously coming off their win. Who would have thought over the Air Force? How does that happen after Air Force beats Jacksonville State? I don't know. But for the Lancers, man, they've looked good so far this season in back-to-back games. Riverside is 0-2. Cal Baptist is 2-0. I understand, again, UC Riverside has played the much tougher competition, but now you're rolling into this game already 0-2. Cal Baptist playing with all of this, again, hype around them, not hype, but, they have the momentum building for them because they're 2-0. I like the Cal Baptist Lancers to go out here and win this game, and I think it's going to be off of another huge effort out of Kendall Coleman. Again, he has really developed into a big role for this Cal Baptist team. The former LSU product didn't really get too much run last year with the Lancers as well. He's now fully in this spot for Cal Baptist, and I think the Lancers go out there and beat UC Riverside in this game. I think they will cover, they're getting the 3.5 points. I think they cover the 3.5 and they win the game outright. Cal Baptist goes to 3-0. UC Riverside goes to 0-3. We like the Lancers to win the game at home. As we go on to our final game of the video, our final best bet, and here it is, folks. We are fading the University of San Diego, USD. We're going to keep on fading them. We haven't faded them yet this season, but we picked them once, and we said, you know what, that's enough. I'm done. I'm never picking USD again. They can't make a layup. They are atrocious. So now we're picking against them. Give me the Portland State Vikings. Now, this isn't completely because of my hate with University of San Diego. I need to completely rewrite the ban list because they got crumpled in my backpack when I went to Oregon this weekend, and you can barely make anything out of this. But right there they are. Is my great handwriting. USD, they're on the ban list. The Toreos, however you want to pronounce it, whatever, English. They're losing to Portland State, guys. They're losing this game. Portland State scores too much. Portland State in their 2 games, they put up 92 against Washington State. They lost the game against Wazoo, but they lose at 192. And they beat Evergreen 131-84. Now, I get it. They let Evergreen score 84 points on them. But at the same time, Portland State put up 65 points in the first half and 66 points in the second half. They shot the ball 50% from 3. They shot the ball 68.5% from the field, which is incredible. They went 15 for 29 shooting the 3-point ball in that game against Evergreen. I don't care. The Evergreen State Geoducks. Again, I get it. They're a D2 school. Who gives a damn? they're still able to score. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I had never heard of Evergreen State. I don't know where this is. I assume it's in Washington somewhere. It's in Olympia, Washington. They are a D2 school, if I'm not mistaken. They're oh god, they're NIA school. NAIA school. Oh, that's great. Anyways, regardless, we're still taking Portland State. It doesn't matter who they're playing. If they're still able to shoot the ball like that and effectively score against them, against Evergreen State, they should be able to do it against USD as well. USD, I'm not impressed, guys. I watched that Ryder game. I am not impressed with anything the University of San Diego does. They refuse to make layups. They don't play great defense. And again, they should have won that game against Ryder, and they didn't. That's why they're banned. So we are going to start fading USD. And this is the first great opportunity I have found to pick against the San Diego Toreos in this game. Toreos, whatever the you want to call them. We are taking Portland State to win the basketball game, okay? They score at an exceptional rate, and they are going to score, and they're going to score at will against San Diego, because San Diego, again, they're going to try to get into a game where it's a back-and-forth, high-tempo game against San Diego, but the thing is, San Diego's not going to be able to score on their own right. So there's no victory. There's no pathway to victory for USD in this one, because Portland State plays a high-tempo game where you're going to be forced to keep up, and you're going to be forced to shoot at will, and you're going to be forced to, again, continue to, score the entire game. I like Portland State to get it done. Again, they scored 90 against Wazoo, 131 in their second game. Give me the Portland State Vikings to go on the road and beat the University of San Diego. We like them to get it done. They are, I believe, they're underdogs in this game, so plus 110 for Portland State, plus 1.5 point dogs. They will get it done on the road. We like the Vikings in the nightcap to beat San Diego. So folks, that will do it for our 5 best bets for the college basketball slate here on November 12th. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks, folks. Thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.